Good afternoon. It's okay, it's awkward to reply to it right now. For context, my name is Chris Odie, and I've been honored to be a friend of Camille and Matt's for nearly 30 years. So today is going to be hard. And it's okay for us to acknowledge that. I'm going to break down at some point during this. So if you do, you're in decent company. On behalf of Camille's family, I would like to thank you all for being here. If you have your phones with you, I'd suggest that you mute them. I'll be honest, it's not for me, it's for you. You'll feel really guilty. And, as amused as Camille would be at that, I don't really think you need to have that. So, there is going to be a reception afterwards in the fellowship hall, the gathering space. So please know that you are invited to stick around for that as well. And at some point, there will also be a balloon release. They are eco-friendly, biodegradable balloons, so don't worry, we're not going to add to the pain in this world. But again, I thank you for being here, and love you. Lord, have mercy. Christ, have mercy. Lord, have mercy. O God of grace and glory, we remember before you today our sister Camille. We thank you for giving her to us to know and to love as a companion in our pilgrimage on earth. In your boundless compassion, console us who mourn. Help us to find your strength and support in each other, that we may take these first steps into life's journey without our dear Camille by our side. And may your peace be known. May your peace be known to and felt by us all this day and always. Amen.
Good morning, everyone. Is it morning? No, it's not morning. It still feels like it's morning. So I heard this poem actually on a TV show, and I had showed it to Camille, and she thought it was one of the most beautiful things she'd ever heard. So we figured it would be fitting to have it here. When I die, give what's left of me away to children and old men that wait to die. And if you need to cry, cry for your brother walking the street beside you. And when you need me, put your arms around anyone and give them what you need to give me. I want to leave you something better than words or sounds. Look for me in the people I've known or loved. And if you cannot give me away, at least let me live on in your eyes and not on your mind. You can love me most by letting hands touch hands, by letting bodies touch bodies, and by letting go of children that need to be free. Love doesn't die, people do. So when all that's left of me is love, give me away. I'll see you at home in the earth.
Hi, I'm Kari Callahan. In December of 2021, Camille planned the most special day for us. One of our long-standing Camille and Kari days out on the town together, she took me to her favorite ramen restaurant for lunch, where we laughed and talked about the countless memories over the course of our 36-year friendship. It was a day I will never forget. But before we left the house that afternoon, she told me she had something very important she wanted to talk to me about. We sat down, cuddled up on her bed together, and she told me she had started to think about her party. Part one of that party we all celebrate today. She wanted to know, when the time came for that, if I would do her eulogy. Question struck me to the core because it was the first time I fully understood how real this all could become. We both got teary, clasped our hands together and hugged, and I told her I was not planning for that to happen for a long time, but I was there for her in anything she would ask of me. It would be my honor to do that for her. I still can't believe this day is here, but I do hope this speech encompasses all that she hoped it would. Camille and I met when we were 7 years old on the softball field in Magnolia at our first t-ball practice. We bonded instantly. So much so that we were gently scolded by the coach multiple times, telling us that we needed to pay attention to the instructions up ahead. We just couldn't stop talking. Our dads, who were both in the stands, noticed what was happening down on the field between us, and they introduced themselves to one another. After the initial practice was over, there we still stood chatting, and our dads came down to join us. They immediately scheduled a play date for their two darling daughters for what they believed was the start of a lifelong friendship. Our childhood revolved around one another and our families. She was part of mine, and I was part of hers. We enjoyed countless slumber parties, family dinners at each other's houses, annual apple cider presses, ballet recitals, and weekend movie nights where we would watch Anne of Green Gables endlessly, each of us dreaming of our real-life Gilbert, who we would one day meet eventually, and we both did. One of my favorite memories of Camille, though, was her love of writing letters. Although we only lived down the street from one another, we regularly exchanged handwritten letters via the mail. This practice only intensified after we received Molly McIntyre and Kirsten Larson, our American Girl dolls. Many of you may remember these historical doll figures who came with their own backstory and books on their fictional lives. Soon, our dolls began exchanging letters with our own added and improvised additions to their historical stories. We had address labels with their names printed and even altered our own handwriting to look like Molly or Kirsten had written the letter instead of one of us. These Camille/Kirsten, Kari/Molly pen pal letters remain some of my favorite childhood memories together. However, our most significant, joy-filled memory that changed us both forever in the best possible way was what Camille's mom, Karen, and her auntie Sharon referred to as our Italy trip of a lifetime. In July of 2000, as we were on the other side of childhood and looking ahead towards the future, we embarked on an adventure which would set the bar for all to come. Camille, her mom Karen, Auntie Sharon, and I hit the skies for Italy, and we never looked back. It became a defining moment in Camille's life and in mine. In an adventure where interactions between the four of us as travel companions was effortless, each experience and moment building upon the next in such happiness and joy that at times it felt like we were in a dream. The bond that strengthened during that unparalleled summer was woven even tighter 6 years later, during the summer of 2006, when we simultaneously experienced the grief of losing a parent. My dad on the 14th of July and Camille's mom on the 14th of August. To be linked together in the highest of highs and the lowest of lows changed something within us. Something that I can't put words to, but we spoke of this feeling, this indescribable link often. I believe it is because of it I'm able to stand up here and share these memories today. Because it's a link that's not defined by time and place, heaven or earth, and I truly feel her presence with us here, this moment. I also know that all of you have your own singular and unique experiences that created these unbreakable bonds with Camille. She possessed the ability to connect with those that she loved on such a deep level that it comes as no surprise. Her list of those friends she considered as family is endless. Every single person who made a loving and lasting connection with Camille is linked to her. Those memories that shape us, the people we became because of knowing Camille and her loving connection to us can't be broken. And that light that continues to shine, that light from her continues to shine in all of us. I feel it the strongest when I'm in the presence of the love of her life, Matt, her two precious children, Wesley and Maddie, her loving father, Rich, and her devoted sister, Katie. And I feel it now as I look around this room and I see the multitude of lives she touched just by being herself. I'd like to end with a quote from Anne of Green Gables author L.M. Montgomery, a quote that I believe embodies how Camille viewed each and every one of her cherished family members and friends and the light that they brought to her, a light that continues to shine because of Camille's love within all of us. Kindred spirits are not so scarce as I used to think. It's splendid to find out there are so many of them in the world. True friends are always together in spirit.
pretty in the sky are also on the faces of people passing by. I see friends shaking hands, singing, how do you do? They really say, I love you. I hear babies cry and I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than we'll know, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Everybody gotta save themselves. Make the kuleana pono for help the other. And when you make the kuleana, pono, then it's like kind of automatic kind of. You don't need to talk the stuff going happen. And you just gotta let them, and the stuff just waiting for when you ready. And what happened? The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people passing by. I see friends shaking hands, singing, how do you do? They really say, I love you. I love you. I hear babies cry and I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than we'll know, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. What a wonderful world.
There's an opportunity here for folks who feel so moved to share a story or a memory of, why did I look over there? That was stupid. Of Camille. Told you. That was just the first one. I know that Bree is going to share something in a moment that Richard wrote. And I thank you for doing that, both of you. There's no pressure if you don't feel comfortable going up. That is perfectly fine. And I would encourage you to remember that there are cards and such outside that you can write down any of these memories to share for future reference. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Bree, would you be so kind as to start us off? Or, yeah.
We're together.
Go right ahead. Yeah, that works too.
Do you want me to start?
We'll start together.
Okay. So who are we?
I'm Reggie Denyo,
I'm Jamie Peahoff.
and we were her mentors. I was her teacher at Northwest Wine Academy, and Jamie.
She worked for me in my business and then came along with me to her latest place of work, the Auction of Washington Wines.
I felt like we had to come up here because we represent a part of Camille's passion. And I want to say that even though I was her teacher and she learned a lot of her skills from me, I learned way more valuable things from Camille than I could ever have imparted to her. And I'm so grateful to her. I'm so grateful to have known her, and I appreciate her so much. Her ease at laughing, and she never stressed out, ever. And she worked for me and kept our little tasting room happy and so positive. Jeannie.
We might go back and forth a little bit. That's okay. Camille actually came to me recommended by Reggie. I was looking for a part-time administrative person, and Camille had just given birth to Maddie. I think Maddie was, 6 months maybe when she came to work for me. So it was mostly an administrative role, and I was kind of a tough boss. Matt knows how many nights Camille came home and said, "She's crazy, she's so hard on me." But she took every opportunity to learn. She was open-minded. She was able to handle a very expressive boss, and she rose to every occasion, and she learned so much, and became a really positive influence in my life. She really brought a lot of grace to my understanding of what grace is, and that's what I think of when I think of Camille. She never stopped looking at the bright side. She loved really deeply. She loved her kids. She loved Matt. She loved wine. She had an amazing knack to connect with people. I think that was said earlier, but the entire Washington wine industry fell in love with her. She connected with so many people, and to this day, people say, tell me how much she did for them and how much she cared for them, and that her work was really important and really impactful. And I feel honored that I was able to give her something that helped her become her best self in a professional role. And I think she was in the right place at the right time, and she was like, when they say you're in the flow, she was in the flow in this career, and she had a long career ahead of her. And her memory will stay on, of course, and in our hearts and in my heart. And I think of her every day. And as we're out in the reception looking around, I want y'all to walk up and look at this little necklace I have on right here that Camille gave me, because we share a very special word together. And I won't tell you what that is right now, but if you walk up to me and look at my necklace, you'll know what it is, and that's what always made us laugh. So I know her love will be carried on by all these people, and I'm just glad that we were able to share in her spirit.
And I as well. And I want to remind everyone, let's not wait until these moments to tell each other how much we appreciate each other and the gratitude that we have in our hearts for each other. Let's not wait until these moments. Let's remember it every day, every morning when you wake up. Put your hand on your heart and feel that gratitude for the ones in your life, because they're amazing and they're special and they're there for a reason. So please remember that, because we don't want to keep doing this. We want to say it to each other daily, to all of us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, everybody. For those who don't know me, I'm Bree. I'm one of her many very close friends. And her amazing father, Richard, asked me to say something brief for everybody. And I'm going to do my best to get through it. But he says, please thank everyone for the love that surrounds Camille and her family. It has given us strength, comfort, and peace. Their quote is, "The things we achieve in life are second to the people we experience them with." And he says, "Love, Richard." So that is a very special message from their family. And I also wanted to say something, and I had to prepare something because I knew that if I tried to just wing it, I'd be a mess. But it so beautifully touches on what Jamie and Reggie touched on as well. for what I loved best about Camille, and it was her ability to bring people together. And I don't even know if she realized it, but she had a passion for connection. She wanted to meet new people and share those new friends with old friends. When you were with her, you felt so important. You felt that she would do anything for you, and which is true. She absolutely would. This was most evident when she became sick, and people flocked to her and the family and came together for support and love. And as being one of those who was with the family the whole time, it was so amazing and touching to see how many people came together to be there for her and there for her family. And throughout the time that she was sick, and even leading up to her passing, I've made new friendships and developed older friendships into more meaningful relationships, and that was all because of her, without even her trying. In a meeting with the palliative care team in the days leading up to her passing, the social worker made special mention of how impressed she was of the support that Camille had. We were sharing with her the great amount of friends Camille had and how much help she had received from friends and family. The social worker noted that in her experience, it is often a solid indicator of a good and wonderful person. Someone who loves and cares with all their heart tends to attract good quality friends. And this observation was quite spot on. We had a lot of ventures through our very long friendship, and to say that we went through a lot would never do it justice. Marriages, pregnancies, births, losses, graduations, countless wine trips and parties, and I'll always cherish every minute that I was lucky enough to spend with such an amazing and wonderful friend and woman, but it wasn't long enough. A quote from Walt Whitman that strikes me, "We were together, the rest I don't remember."
I didn't know that thing about the dolls writing each other notes. You get that that's messed up, right? I ran this next bit past the pastor, so if anyone's offended, it's his fault. It was the spring of 2019, and I was taking Camille home after the latest in a series of appointments that had ended in bad news, and that it had been an edge case that led to an edge case. You know, we found something on your mammogram. It's probably nothing, but you should come in. Okay, it's something, but probably not bad. Okay, it's bad, but it's probably benign. It's not benign. And so we were coming back from a meeting with the surgeon for what would be the first of 4 surgeries that year, as she fought tooth and nail with everything in her, which, as you know, is a lot, to stay in this life that she built and she loved so much. So we're driving home back to Tacoma. It's been quiet in the car for 10, 15 minutes because we're all sobbed out. We have nothing left. When she suddenly turns to me and says, "Tell me a cancer joke." And so all of my red flags go up, because that's a pretty precise needle you have to thread there, because I don't know any cancer jokes, so I have to make one on the spot. And what do you do in that situation? How many cancer patients does it take to change a light bulb? I don't know. Knock, knock, who's their cancer? That's not funny. So I ultimately settled on a bad pickup line. And I turn to her and I say, "Hey, baby, are you dick cancer? Because my pants are full of uncontrollable growth." And then it was silent. And being a good, responsible driver that I am, my eyes were on the road. And the silence continued, and I was starting to get really worried, so I started loading my excuses. And I looked over and realized that the reason she was silent is because she was doing that silent laugh. the head thrown back, hand waving. She then proceeded to text the joke to her cancer group, who confirmed that it was indeed funny. And that, in a nutshell, that was Camille. She could find the humor and the joy in anything, the light in any darkness, the warmth in the most blanketing cold. She was light, and she was my lighthouse. Through good times and bad, stormy seas and calm, she was there. She was the constant, emitting that light and that love and that warmth to draw you home. And you know how annoying that is when you're an artist? I need to brood. Camille would not let you not be her friend. In fact, the year before we started dating, we went on 3 not-a dates over that summer, at the end of which I actually asked her, "Are we dating?" To which she said, "As far as I know, we're not." And then we didn't talk for a year. And she still wouldn't let me not be her friend. Oh, babe. I mean, you've all experienced it. She was the heart of any group. She always wanted to assure that you were having a good time, no matter the situation. When she was in stage 4 and had lost her hair, she would ask how you were doing to initiate a conversation. How are you? How are you handling this? She asked that on the final car trip we took together, when her cognition had begun to muddy. And we were back in the car. This time I'm driving her to Seattle, and I'm crying. And she says, "Why are you crying?" And I said, "Because my wife is dying, the love of my life." And she said, "It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay." Even then, assuring me, reaching out, providing support, because that was her default setting, was to bring people together and make sure you were all having a good time. I went back and forth on what to share as my quote poem here, before settling on this one this morning. Just Delicate Needles by Rolf Jacobson, translated from the Norwegian by Robert Bly. It's so delicate, the light, and there's so little of it. The dark is huge. Just delicate needles, the light, in an endless night. And it has such a long way to go through such desolate space. So let's be gentle with it. Cherish it, so it will come again in the morning. We hope.
Strive for the greater gifts, and I will show you a still more excellent way. If I speak in the tongues of mortals and of angels, but do not have love, I am a noisy gong or a clanging cymbal. And if I have prophetic powers and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have all faith so as to move mountains, but do not have love, I am nothing. If I give away all my possessions, and if I hand over my body so that I may boast, but do not have love, I gain nothing. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love is not boastful or envious or arrogant or rude. It does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice in wrongdoing, but rejoices in the truth. Love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, and endures all things. Love never ends. But as for prophecies, they will come to an end. As for tongues, they will cease. As for knowledge, it will come to an end. For we know only in part, and we prophesy only in part. But when the complete comes, the partial will come to an end. When I was a child, I spoke like a child. I thought like a child. I reasoned like a child. And when I became an adult, I put an end to childish ways. For now we see in a mirror dimly, but then we will see face to face. And now I know only in part. And then I will know fully, even as I have been fully known. And now faith, hope, and love abide, these three. And the greatest of these is love. You would think after nearly 9 months of thinking about this day and this moment that I would know exactly what I wanted to say to you. And I don't. When the cancer came back last summer, and posts were made and conversations were had, I did what I always do when I'm stressed or anxious about something. I started reading. Not like random blogs or things like that, but journal articles. Seeking out anything I could to try to understand without bothering Matt and Camille. And everything I found was bad. And so when the request went out for folks to help with driving her to chemo and being involved in helping with other ways, I knew I needed to go. Because if nothing else, I wanted to make sure she had someone who would be willing to sit in the suck. It came up the first time that we went up for treatment. I don't exactly remember how I broached it. I think it was something along the lines, knowing me, there was a lengthy preamble. But eventually it got to the point of just letting her know that if she ever needed someone who was willing to just listen, who had sat with a lot of people, that there was nothing I could fix, but that I would be there. She told me that her funeral would have dancing, karaoke, and no crying. So we've all failed.
Still 2 out of 3.
2 out of 3, that's true. And when she said that, I let it hang for a moment, and I said, okay. But you do know you're going to have to let us grieve first, right? All of that is there, don't get me wrong, that life, that love, that light. But you're going to have to let us grieve. I chose that reading to share with you 1 Corinthians 13. The reason that I chose that, you've heard it before, you've heard it at a wedding. The odds are good. You're all old enough that you've probably been to at least a couple in your lives. And statistically speaking, if you've been to a wedding in the Western world at some point, one of them, that reading is going to show up. You've got to be really deliberate to never hear it. But the reason I wanted to use it is because as much as we associate it with romantic love, those words of Paul have nothing to do with that. He was writing to an early church community that was in conflict, which as a pastor, I can assure you, that's still a thing. And he was writing to them about what it meant to respect each other and to love each other and to work through problems and difficulties and grow together and to recognize their common humanity and their common purpose. In our circle of friends from PLU, Matt and Camille were, if not close to, the first to get hitched. And I remember on the day of that wedding, the joy that we all shared together. And that sense of excitement of what was to come. And I sense that same joy in many ways here today too, which is a good thing. A few years later, when my own wife and I got married, Camille gave us, well, technically both of you, but let's be honest. A wedding gift that at the time I did not fully recognize the importance of. It was a piece of glass, brown, with gold flecks, a piece of artwork that her mother had made. At many a house party at the place we stayed at that first year of marriage, thanks again, Stevie. Poor seminarians, we needed a place that was cheap. That plate sat on a display above the mantelpiece, and I know for a fact that there were photos from those parties, some of which should never see the light of day, but in which the plate is there. As a pastor going into seminary, my wife and I moved several times the next few years. The plate came with us, and somewhere along the way, it was broken. Jeff, I'm glad you're there that you can help me. Kintsugi?
Kintsugi.
Thank you, sir. I got so happy when I saw you were right there. I was like, I'm going to forget the word. Kintsugi is a Japanese art form in which broken pottery is repaired, oftentimes using gold or silver, so that the breaks are visible. They're highlit. They become a part of the story of that piece. In the Western world, so often we are focused on trying to look perfect, trying to cover up the ugly bits. That plate was even more beautiful afterward. It went with us on several other moves, and then unfortunately, somewhere along the way, it disappeared. But I still remember it. The beauty that I found there is not gone. No one and nothing can take that away. What it meant for my friend to give it, what I learned by recognizing the beauty in its scars and its imperfections, that I get to keep. This sucks. This is too soon. And it's okay to acknowledge that. But I hope that each and every one of you takes a moment to look around and recognizes that you are not alone. And Matt, damn it, I include you in that. There are others who have shared a piece of this woman's life and story, who recognize the beauty of it, scars and all. And nothing can take that away. In the days and weeks and months ahead, in many ways, that's when it gets harder. Because right now, we're all here. Right now, you can see it and you can feel it. But then we all scatter. I have a favor to ask of you. Those I've known for what feels like forever. I meant that in a good way. And those who have no idea who the heck I am. Reach out. Not just today and tomorrow, but 6 months from now, when you have that random thought, I wonder how Richard's doing, I wonder how Katie's doing, I wonder how Matt is doing. Freaking reach out. I don't care if it feels awkward. I don't care if you find yourself wondering if it's an imposition. They can always tell you what to do with yourself if they don't want to talk. But make the effort. Matt and I have had a relationship over the years of constant waves, of highs and lows. And my first instinct as a broken human being when all of this went down was to stay out of the way. I didn't want to be an imposition. I didn't want it to feel awkward. And then thank God I've had enough training and experience that I got out of my own stupid head and showed up. I don't care if it feels awkward. I don't care, because it's not about you. It's about community, and it's about love, and it's about support. And at the end of the day, that's what Camille was about. That's what she ate and slept and breathed every day. I wish I had a good ending. It's really hard to follow Matt. In the hymnal in front of you, no, legit, that's the end right there. In the hymnal in front of you is the red book on number 838 is Beautiful Savior. For those of you who don't know, and technically for those of you who do, this is a song, a hymn that has oftentimes been sung at PLU, Camille's alma mater. And there is a tradition of singing it in the round frequently by the choir. If you feel comfortable with that, that's fine. Life will be good either way. But I would ask you to please join each other in this song. And frankly, I don't like to sit when I sing, so if you'd please rise as you are able. All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one in their time plays many parts. Your part was cut far too soon, Camille, but you played it well. And more importantly, you played it with so much love and so much support for your fellow castmates. Thank you for that. Let us commend Camille to the mercy of God. Into your hands, O merciful Savior, we commend your servant Camille. Acknowledge, we humbly beseech you, a sheep of your own fold, a lamb of your own flock, and a sinner of your own redeeming. Receive her into the arms of your mercy and into the blessed rest of everlasting peace, and into the glorious company of the saints in light. Rest eternal grant her, O Lord, and let light perpetual shine upon her. Go in peace. Know that you are loved. Amen.
It's been a